This is the problem is when you're a trader, you stay a trader, regardless of what.
Always, once a trader, always a trader.
Always
You're a risk management guru. You're a contrarian. You're a number of things.
Contrarian doesn't mean take the opposite position.
No, I know.
Yeah, all right. Means independent, you mean?
So let's tap into some of that right now.
Okay.
You, like me, and everyone here, everyone anywhere, has been watching what's going on in the White House. And some people think of it as a train wreck. When you look at what's going on in the White House, when you look at what Donald Trump is doing and what he's saying, what do you see?
Well, first of all, you watch too much news, because I don't see a train wreck. And I don't see particularly Donald Trump as anything different from other politicians, except in his language, okay? Or perhaps in the way he does things in the accelerated way. Why? You got to remember that Donald Trump is a fellow who never had a supervisor in his life.
No boss.
No boss. So he doesn't know how to express things in a way that a supervisor, okay, can understand. So you have to translate what he says and just focus on what he does and to see the things he's trying to do.
What about firing the FBI director? What about concerns? What about concerns over
the signal I got? That maybe because I live in a different world, maybe because I watch actions, not commentary. To me, the reason he fired Comey is because, probably in the mind of Trump, he doesn't collude with the Russians, and for him, it's a diversion. That's it.
The opposite. In other words, the opposite of what most people think. Many people, I won't say most, many people think he fired Comey because Comey wouldn't stop probing the Russia ties or allegations.
But Trump is not, people think that Trump is not someone who is intelligent. Trump is not an idiot. He wouldn't be there if he didn't. There's a logic to Trump that you can only get if you forget about the news and then look at Trump as Trump. That's his behavior. He didn't do anything wrong. He may have violated a rule, but there's nothing, not the gravity that you may attribute to someone who's trying to cover up something. He's not trying to cover up.
So what happens then? This all works itself out? It's fine?
I don't know, but I mean, we've had many of those. We had that paranoia about the Russians, but that's not what's happening now. A lot of things are happening that people aren't looking at.
Such as?
Okay, so you got to look at the situation pre-Trump and which way we're heading. There are a lot of things that Trump came to do that are substantial. The first one is, after 32 years, fixing the tax code. Okay, the tax code is exactly like something that's metastatic, all right? It starts, codes bring codes, unless someone comes in with a Gordian knot, cuts the whole thing, and you need someone aggressive.
Okay,
Trump
tax reform, number one.
Number two is Obamacare is a disaster. It's a centralized system for 300 million Americans. We're not Canadians, all right? Canada is a small country. You cannot scale things up. You need to do it differently. So the point isn't whether you're depriving people or not.
In other words, you support the effort to repeal Obamacare.
To replace Obamacare with something more rational.
Okay, so he wanted to cut taxes, he wanted to repeal Obamacare and replace it.
Third, the train wreck, the real train wreck is globalization. Globalization, and I mean, I wrote about it in the Black Swan and everybody cheered, all right? And now they're against it. Globalization leads to monoculture. I mean, unfettered globalization leads to a concentration of companies and winner-take-all effect.
Okay.
And I described
So he's the anti-globalist?
Not anti-globalist. He's fixing the system, all right? He's making the system survive by fixing some of the things in the system that are not sustainable. That's the third point. Fourth point, we have a problem with what we call the pseudo-elite, right? These people,
and you've written about many times.
Many times, and the last 10 years been swelling. I'm not just saying Obama, from before Obama, but of course accelerated greatly under Obama. A lot of people, the pseudo-experts that in the Black Swan I describe as incapable of finding a coconut on Coconut Island, but somehow because they have an Ivy League degree, they're given a position. And these people, you need to sort of like replace them with doers. And we need that, okay?
What you're saying, if I understand it correctly, is that you're supportive of the things that Trump has said he wants to do.
Of some of the things. The fifth thing, we're going to see later. And the number 5, Trump came on a platform of non-interventionism. So we have 5 things. Now, of course,
foreign policy, in terms of foreign policy.
Of course, I am pro-environment, but I am anti-metastatic bureaucracy running stuff like that. You see, so at least you need someone to fix a system. And
you believe Trump is the guy to fix the system?
Well, he's aggressive enough on this platform. Now, the problem is he may not deliver, and I'm very worried that point number 5, intervention, is he may not deliver, because that's not what I see from his recent actions. Yes.
When you see the market sell off 400 points, as it did yesterday, is that people coming to the same conclusion that he may not deliver?
I think. Well, let me tell you one thing. First, this is a blip. Okay,
yesterday's sell-off was a blip.
I mean, look, since Trump is here, we had like a substantial increase around plus or minus 10%, and so we can't talk about a blip. But there's a deeper problem, and let's talk about it now. The mistake and the thing I disagree with Trump is Trump came in, bought the market on its highs. Unlike Obama bought a dip, as Mark Spitznagel said, Trump should disassociate himself from the market.
What you mean by this is when the market hit its low in March of 2009, only a couple of months after Obama took office.
Exactly. So Obama had the market, on a cheap, all right? So the market went up. He can claim all the credit. Now Trump is claiming credit on the market he's getting, he's buying on its highs. So that's not rational. He should disengage himself from the market because he has inherited a very sick situation. Obama left us, had 8 years of Novocaine, So now we've had 2007, the crisis started 10 years ago. In 10 years, we are still dealing with a remedy. I mean, since what? If a patient goes to the hospital and 10 years later, you're still giving him, painkillers.
Even if someone were to agree with you, how does Trump disengage himself from the market? He owns the market whether he likes it or not.
Maybe, but he can explain, he could have explained, just coming in, he could explain that, listen, there are a lot of things that my predecessors have left me with that I don't agree with, and if the market collapses, it's not bad. But claiming credit for that rise in the market makes him vulnerable to himself.
I'm not sure the effort to try and explain worked so well for President Obama. President Obama inherited a situation too. And he tried to say on a number of occasions, look what I was left with, and a lot of people weren't buying that argument.
Maybe, but the guy bought a dip and Trump bought the high. Plus there's another problem. In my opinion, we have tail risk today we did not have before. And every day it gets worse. We have...
How bad is the tail risk today relative to where it was in 2007?
2007 is like the market had already collapsed. Today,
no.
Now today you're going to count going back to 2007 and then start counting to look at the difference.
It's worse?
I think so. Of course, look at valuations are higher.
The risk. Hang on a second. The risk of something calamitous happening, the financial markets is greater today than it was in 2007.
You're falling from higher because you're falling from much higher. You see, you have a huge rise, considerable rise in the stock market that you may have to unwind.
If that's the case, the VIX, hang on a second. Yes. If that's the case, the VIX at 15, which is where it's at today, is
the at-the-money VIX. The at-the-money VIX is not a good measure. It's a tail that's a good measure, And, I would buy the at-the-money VIX. You would engage in a tail hedging strategy. But what I would tell you today is that if you own stocks without a hedge, it's not rational. And last time we were here, and actually the penultimate time I was on TV, I don't like to go on TV, and I'm glad, we get along and we can do this. Last time I was here, I explained to you my research. And if you are exposed to tail risks, then your alpha and the future returns are going to be divorced from the return of the market. See? So, and people don't realize that. It's like buying a house without insurance. You cannot really look at what's going to happen, to your house by looking at the housing market unless you are hedged.